What, Mama? What about my cake? What? There. What do you mean it's burned? What do you mean it's burned? No, it's not.
It is.
Why?
Because you didn't listen.
Oh.
Why my light here is on? Did you play in here?
No, don't turn it off. I'm still here.
That's why. Why are you in my castle? You want to share my castle?
No. True or false count? So let's start. Bible 605, matching Book of Ezekiel, a kind of prophetic autobiography, prophecies about the gentle nations. Ezekiel chapter 25 to 32, Zerubbabel, leader of the first return of captives from Babylon. Content of Lamentation reveals Jeremiah's great sorrow at the fall of Judah and destruction of Jerusalem. Branch of Righteousness, Christ the Messiah. Nehemiah, the leader of the third return of captive people from Babylon. History. Hebrew term for the week, used to refer to 7-year period. Cupbearer to the king, the position of Nehemiah in the court of Artaxerxes. Jeremiah, a prophet in Judah who was relative of King Josiah. Book of Jeremiah predicted the Babylon captivity and its link. Daniel, third ruler in the kingdom of Belshazzar. Fill in the blank. The prophet of the restoration period were Haggai, Zechariah, and Malachi. Daniel wrote as an officer of Babylon state and not as the member of the Jewish community in exile. A prophet of God who was called to his prophetic ministry during the 5th year of his captivity was Ezekiel. After completion of the Jerusalem walls, the people were led in revival and reform by Nehemiah, a prophet who ministered to Judah before the Babylon captivity, to the captives in Babylon by the letter to the Romans in Judah after the captivity, and then to the Romans in Egypt was Jeremiah. True or false? Jeremiah did predict the Babylon captivity and its length. The effort of Ezekiel's ministry was to bring the people in exile back to God of the covenant. The principal people to whom Daniel ministered were not Gentile kings. Jonah was a minor prophet who ministered the people of Nineveh. In order they appear in the Old Testament, Deuteronomy is the 5th book of the law. The book of Lamentation is not one of the 5 books of the Old Testament poetry. True or false count, sad face. Under Artaxerxes of Persia, the captive Jews were almost destroyed because of the wickedness of human. 2 prophets of the Lord whose ministry contributed much to the construction of the temple in Jerusalem were not Zechariah and Malachi. The leader of the second return of captive people from Babylon was not Nehemiah. God used 2 gentle kings, Cyrus and Darius, to accomplish the rebuilding of the temple. Multiple choice. The following items is not a point in the outline of Ezekiel. The preservation of the captives in exile. The following items are points in the outline of Daniel. History and prophecies. The moon and stars were created on the 4th day. The worst king among the kings of Israel, the northern king, was Ahab. The history of Israel in Canaan for the first 300 years following the death of Joshua is given in the book of Judges. Elijah's successor as a prophet in Israel was Elijah. The man who served as both the last judge and the first prophet of Israel was Samuel. Land animals and man were created by God on the 6th day of creation. The story of Ruth occurred during the period of Judges. That God wanted to be central in the lives of his people was suggested by the location of the tabernacle in Shiloh, Shiloh. We have the biblical records of God's final preparation for his redeemed people to enter the promised land in the book of Deuteronomy. Fill in the blank. What was the most important preparation Israel made for the journey to Jerusalem from exile? 7:10. You can look it up and copy it on the test. For For Ezra prepared his heart to seek for Ezra prepared his heart to seek the law of the Lord and to do it, teaching Israel statutes and judgment. That's a joint stock company. Oh, Thomas Hooker, Connecticut, Massachusetts, John Winthrop, Rhode Island, Roger William, Duke, New York, Duke of York, Pennsylvania, William Penn, William Bradford, Georgia, James Oglethorpe, John Smith, New Jersey, Lord Berkeley, Maryland, the Calverts. It says James Oglethorpe.